Good morning, this is Donna, and today I'm going to try to attempt to show you a little bit on how to start an ear uh, for making a little alien. Now, I'm not going to go through a full tutorial. I will link in the description below of where to find the full tutorial for this. But this is the finished first ear. Looks a little, I just gotta kind of like get it to fit right. The yarn I'm using right now to make this alien is Mainstay 100% acrylic yarn. It's 397 yards, 7 ounces, and the color, if that's the color name, I have no clue. They don't be putting the full color names anymore. Let's see. Sea Turtle. Here we go. So this is called Sea Turtle. And what I did, I ended the last 4 rows with a half double crochet, and then on the very last stitch, I'm just going to kind of show you what I did. On the very last stitch of my half double crochet, I slip stitched into the next stitch, and then you have to leave a long tail because you're going to have to be sewing this on, attaching it to the head. And what I did after I made that slip knot and put the little knot on it, I took my needle, my little darning needle here, and I went down about 2 stitches. So this way it kind of pulled that down to make it a little bit more of a smoother edge, so when I do sew on, it won't be like a bulky little portion there in the corner. It won't have like a knot look. So this is my first ear. I'm going to pause the video, get ready to show you at least the starting point of making this ear. We're going to be starting here at the very point. It's going to be a little hard and complicated. I shouldn't say that. It's just going to be a little tight when you first start this. And as you grow, it's going to be like 10 rows of increases, and then there's a couple rows of half double crochet. Then there's another increase, and then there's, let's see. So after the 10 rows, I'm sorry, so let me backtrack. So after you do the 10 rows of increases, then you do one whole row of single crochet. Then you do another increase. Then you do 3 rows of half double crochets. Then you do a decrease. And then the last 4 rows are half double crochet. That's how you get this little shape and little awkwardness of the shape. So let me pause the video and I'll be right back. So please bear with me. I'm going to try to do this. It's going to be a little complicated because I am looking through my camera screen. But we start off with a magic ring. So you have your yarn tail facing you. You're going to wrap around the first 2 fingers. You're going to take your hook, and again I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I didn't say, I'm using an H hook, which is a 5.00 millimeter. You're going to grab that first loop. Okay, hold on. See? It's hard to do this on camera. So, you're going to bring up your first loop, hook onto the back loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through. So that's the start, okay? That one, this first loop does not count as your first stitch. It does not count. So we're going to put in 4 single crochets into the ring. So you're going to insert your hook in the ring, yarn over, bring up. Now before I do anything, I put a stitch marker in right away because it's kind of hard when you do a magic circle and then you're trying to look for your beginning stitch. So there's my first stitch. Again, in, and you're going to make single crochets. And let me get focused here. Let me come back up, see if I can get focused. Okay. So you're going to go in, yarn over, come up, and go through the 2 loops. Okay. So there's my 4 stitches. I'm going to pull my tail. And I'm not going to pull it real tight until I start going around in a circle. So next round is you're just going to put one single crochet hold on, one single crochet. So I'm going to do one single crochet. So you're going to start with the first stitch. All right. I'm going to mark that stitch again. And I'm trying to stay on camera. So there's one double crochet, or one single crochet, excuse me, one single crochet. You got to find your second single crochet. And I'm a little rusty doing this right now, so you have to bear with me. Please have patience, and I appreciate your time on this. Okay, there's the second. Here is the third single crochet that you're making. And then finally, because here's my stitch marker, I have one more stitch. And let me get this in here. There we go. There's my fourth single crochet. All right, now, did I do that right? Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Bear with me. Again, I'm rusty here. A little rusty. All right, I'm going to pause this for a minute. Okay, I am going to leave mistakes in here because I think it's a lesson to learn. You have to learn by your mistakes. So it finally took me a few minutes, so I do apologize because again I'm rusty and trying to work on a very tight little corner like this when you're starting out with only 4 stitches and a magic ring and then trying to do another round of single crochet. It is kind of hard because the stitches are a little tight. But I do have my 4 stitches here. Now, before I pull anything tight with my tail here, I'm going to make sure that the tail is inside and I am pushing up to get that point. Okay? So when I pull this tail, make sure I'm pulling on the right one here. When I'm pulling this tail, you're going to have to work with it to shape it. And I'm sorry, I'm off camera here. So you're going to have to try to shape it. So I'm trying to pull on that tail. See, I have a tail. Here's my working yarn. Here's my tail. And here's my stitch. So I'm going to keep that so I'm not losing that as well. Okay. So I pulled on that tight. Now, this is where we're going to start working the increase. So with the increase, it'll get better as you work with it. You're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, 2 in the next, and then 1 in the next, 2 in the next. And that's how you're going to do each row. So when you come to the next increase, it's going to be 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2 single crochets in the third stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 2, and then 2. And then you're going to do 3, 4, 5, up to 10, okay? But I'm just going to show you this. I don't, like, again, this is not a full tutorial, but I'm just showing you and giving you an idea on how to start this. Now, my stitch marker, this is where my first stitch is. Again, I'm trying to keep everything on focus here. Let me try to see if I can. All right, so I'm in my first stitch. There we go. Yarn over, and I'm doing a single crochet. This is what you're working on right now, single crochets. I put my stitch marker back in, yarn over, there's my first single crochet. Now I gotta look for my next stitch, and it's like I said, it's kind of tricky if you can see how tight the stitches are. Alright, so here's my first, here's my next stitch here. Oops. Again, Rusty. I'm very rusty. Let me pause this. All right, I'm in my second stitch. This is where I am increasing. So there's 1 and 2. Here's 1 stitch, here's my 3rd stitch. I am doing, and again, like I said, this is tight. I'm trying to show this on camera. All right, I'm picking up my stitch. I'm doing a single crochet. And then the last stitch here, I'm going to do an increase. So 1 and 2. Now you start seeing the shape a little bit better. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to start making this a little bit more of a point here. Okay, so you see now I'm getting the point of the ear. If you want, you can always cut this down so it's not all over the place. And I would work that up and into the inside of the ear if you want. As far as you can. Okay, so now there is my tail inside. Get my hook back on, and I'm going to do one more round with you. So again, now it's going to be a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So here's my first stitch. Here's the second stitch, single crochet. Next stitch is 2 in the same stitch. So here's your increase. So 1, 2. In the next 2, it's 1 single crochet. Oops, I'm not doing a half. Single crochet, 1, single crochet in the next, and then the stitch, last stitch, you're doing an increase. And I try to keep my stitches even with tension. One and 2. And that's the start of the ear. Again, you do an increase. So the next round will be 1 single crochet in the next 3, increase. 1 single crochet in the next 3, increase. You're going to have it times 2. So it's whatever that increase is, you'll have the next row will be 4. 1 single crochet in the next 4, then an increase. 1 single crochet in the next 4 in the increase. Next round, it's 5. Next round, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you continue doing that. Again, I'll link in the description below of where to find the proper tutorial for this. But again, it is a little tough in the beginning because you're working, your stitches are really tight, especially when you're trying to build on something. But this is the alien ears portion of this video. Thanks for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some time with me. Everyone take care. You have a great day, and I look forward to our next conversation.